kanta Kihilo mapagahis Iboti tumispasyo gisaro Bonita na Palawan Kung bonito tati Iguini fiu Imu magahit na pagi Neni haguhan na Palawan Neni haguhan winalzaku Haguhan linalamu para todo y tiempo Hagu na Palawan se encuentra Neni haguhan na Palawan Ay neni haguhan winalzaku Haguhan linalagu para todo y tiempo Hagu na Palawan se encuentra Hagu na Palawan se encuentra Hagu na Palawan se encuentra
Oaten House. Enjoy. I remember the old days with my friends I used to play. Never hungry, never tired, always free. Nana's cooking filled the air. Lots of love was everywhere in that old tin house by the sea. Every day when chores were done, thought I said, go have your fun. Had to be back for the pigs we had to feed. How I wish that I could see Tata and Nonna smiling at me in that old tin house by the sea. And I remember the old days when the church bells used to ring and the villagers would gather to pray. How they live life simply, always rich with no money in that old tin house by the sea. Every day when chores were done, thought I said, go have your fun. Had to be back for the pigs we had to feed. How I wish that I could see Tata and Nonna smiling at me in that old tin house by the sea. Tata's English was not so good, but somehow we understood. And there was Nonna standing by our side. When we did wrong, how we would scold, but we did just as we're told in that old tin house by the sea. And every day when chores were done, Tata said, go have your fun. Had to be back for the pigs we had to feed. How I wish that I could see Tata and Nana smiling at me in that old tin house by the sea. In that old tin house by the sea. In that old tin house by the sea.
It's up to you what you wanna do in this lonely summer night. Just make sure that it's worth the while and that it feels alright. Oh, good vibes, so won't you fly, oh fly over me, baby. So won't you fly, oh fly over me, baby. It's alright, everything will be okay when the sunrise dark turns to light. Even when nothing is going your way, when the sun sets, don't get upset. So won't you fly, oh fly over me, baby. So won't you fly, oh fly over me, baby. La da 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 da
Feels like longer than forever, yeah. My home is now a distant land. If I had one wish, I wish I could be back on the rock in the middle of the sea. My heart is calling me to the islands, blue skies and tropical breeze. I wanna go back home to swim in that Pacific Sea. You can take the boy from the island, but not the island from the boy. 'Cause the island stays in your heart, and I'll never forget where I'm from. Oh no, I'll never forget. No, I'll never forget. I miss the local grind, you know what I mean. Red rice, barbecue, and yes, finna Denny. Fiesta, pay for lunch. Ooh, what a winner. Call my tellers up, hey, who go buy dinner? My heart is calling me to the islands, blue skies and tropical breeze. I wanna go back home to swim in that Pacific Sea. You can take the boy from the island, but not the island from the boy. 'Cause the island stays in your heart, and I'll never forget where I'm from. Oh no, I'll never forget. Love the local girls, especially the ones from Guam. Came back from God's real.
Hafide, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today virtually for today's COVID-19 press conference to announce our vaccination incentives for residents. At this time, I'd like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Lourdes Lou Leon Guerrero, Magahagan Guahan, Governor of Guam, as well as the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, Segunda Magalahan Guahan, Lieutenant Governor of Guam. We also have with us present here in our large conference room, former Governor and GVB President and CEO Carl Gutierrez. And joining us virtually, we have Dr. Felix Cabrera, the Department of Public Health and Social Services Chief Medical Officer. I would now like to give the floor to Lieutenant Governor Tenorio for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Crystal, and Hafide to the people of Guam. As you know, last year's 76th Liberation Day festivities were canceled. And while we will be transitioning into a virtual parade this year, the most asked question is, will there be fireworks? We are working very hard to achieve our mission, Operate Liberate Guam, or our plan for herd immunity to protect our people from COVID-19. So, in the spirit of our island's strength and resilience, especially in the wake of this global pandemic, we will have a fireworks display to commemorate Liberation Day. And more than just fireworks, we will host Guam's first ever drone light show. So on July 21st, Tumon Bay will be lit up with a 12-minute drone light show filled with messages and images of hope and gratitude. It has been a long and challenging year for all of us, but together we will come out stronger than ever. And to discuss, I think, some big news about our incentive programs, it's my honor to introduce our Magahaga, our Chief Nurse, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor, and Hafide to the people of Guam. You have done an outstanding job at containing the spread of COVID-19. Our COVID area risk score remains low. Today, our CAR score is 0.5. Our COVID hospitalization is low. Today, we have 3 hospitalized between GMH and GRMC, none of whom are in the ICU or relying on a ventilator to breathe. Our COVID-related deaths have ceased. It has been 31 days since our last moment of silence. This is not by accident. This is because of each of you. Last December, we received our first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines. Since then, we've set forth on an aggressive mission to vaccinate as many of our people as possible, starting with our most vulnerable, and that is Arman Amco. Once our vaccine supply allowed it, we expanded eligibility to younger residents. We set up daily vaccination clinics in the north, in the central, and in the south. We partnered with private providers to give shots. We went to schools, to churches, to work sites, and to the homeless. We hosted drive-through events and outreaches at the mall. We have done homebound calls and ventured into vulnerable communities where residents are unlikely to seek medical care. And we'll continue with these efforts until everyone who is eligible for the shot and wants one can get one. Back in March, I asked each of you to help us achieve our path to health, our mission to get 50% of our eligible population vaccinated, and you answered our call. With the majority of our most vulnerable in the community protected, I felt comfortable relaxing restrictions. Now, families and friends can gather in groups of no more than 100 people. Restaurants and retail have resumed operations at 75% occupancy, and vaccinated travelers are welcome into Guam with no quarantine restrictions. While this is significant progress in our COVID-19 response and has enabled us to resume some semblance of normalcy, I call on you once again to take action. This time to achieve Operation Liberate Guam by Guam's Liberation Day on July 21st, 2021. As of today, we have vaccinated 82,778 people. To achieve herd immunity, we are targeting to vaccinate as many as 80% of our adult population, or 96,000 people. That means we need over 13,000 more shots in arms to achieve Operation Liberate Guam. For those who have received their shots, I am very grateful and thank you for doing your part to protect yourself, to protect your loved ones, and to protect our island community. I ask that each and every one of you encourage someone you know who hasn't received the vaccine to consider it. To show our thanks, our office, in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau, is proud to announce an incentive program we are calling Vax and Win for all our vaccinated Guam residents. Entry is easy. Just log on to visitguam.com/vax and fill out a few short questions, including your name, how we can reach you, and the dates you received your COVID-19 vaccine on Guam. These incentives are available to all residents who received their vaccine on Guam, whether you received your shots back in December or you received your shots last week. Starting June 16 and every Wednesday leading up to Guam's liberation on July 21st, residents 18 years of age or older who received their COVID-19 vaccine on Guam are eligible to win either $10,000 in cash or a brand new car. And for our vaccinated residents who are 17 years of age and younger, you will also be eligible to win great prizes, such as a $500 gift certificate from Micronesia Mall. These prizes will be paid for by a number of federal grants for outreach and incentive programs. If you're not yet vaccinated, there's still time to get your shots. We have vaccination clinics throughout the week at locations island-wide. Once you received both doses of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine or the one and done Johnson & Johnson vaccine, you are eligible to enter. Simply again, log on to visitguam.com/vax and fill out your entry form. Although Operation Liberation Day is an aggressive goal, I wholeheartedly believe in our ability to come together for the greater good of our people. We have done this time and again through World War II, through destructive super typhoons and earthquakes, and through not one, but two surges of COVID-19. The vaccine is free, the vaccine is safe, and the vaccine is effective at preventing severe illness, hospitalization, and death. We need an all-in approach to beat this virus, and we can do so by achieving Operation Liberate Guam. Get your shot to win, but more importantly, get your shot to help rebuild Guam. I now would like to give the floor to former Governor Gutierrez.
Thank you very much, Governor Leon Guerrero. Ladies and gentlemen, December 8, 1941, Guam began a lockdown that lasted 2.5 years. And the people of Guam did not survive because they only thought about themselves individually, but they all came together as a community to fight this invasion. Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has, over almost a year and a half, has also called the community together to try to fight this pandemic, this invasion that's among us. And we cannot just think about our own self. I think we got to think of the community first. That's why it's so important that we all come out and get vaccinated when you are eligible. For some reason that you can't, it's got to be really something that's very critical that you can't get. But I think for the sake of survival of the people of Guam, and for us to move forward and celebrate the 77th anniversary of the World War II and our liberation, a liberation that we achieved because we all stuck together. It's not about just one-on-one, it's everybody together pulling. So I'm really happy that the governor and the lieutenant governor assigned Guam Visitors Bureau to put together a fireworks display. And she also asked that we do a drone display that's not only the first time here in Guam, but in the area, in the region. And she also instructed that we do 3 nights or 3 places, 3 nights of drones and 3 simultaneous fireworks, one down in the Mauricio area, the Agana area, and the Tumon area. And prior to the Tumon area being, have the fireworks display start, they're going to do a drone presentation. And I'm telling you that this group of people that we hired to do the drone presentation, the same one that did the drone presentation for the inauguration of President Biden. So these are professionals, and we have pulled them together. And then after the first night of a drone and fireworks in Agana, the drones will continue the next day in the south, in Mauricio, because as we recall, I think Tinta, Faja, and Tongko Rages swimming out on the ocean trying to flag down the Navy ship, I think is the best place to be able to show that this is unprecedented. We'll do fireworks down there, we'll drone displays as well. And then in the north, the third night, they would also do, hopefully the Guam soccer field will be used to display the drones. We're working on that third day right now because of the time schedule, but I hope it happens. But that's what the governor and the lieutenant governor really want to show you, that much is appreciated because of what we have gone through. It's almost more than half of what we went through in World War II. So this is not easy, but it can be done by yourself, hiding in your house, not wanting to come out and get vaccinated. Please do that. And I'm sure that the 77th anniversary is also the first anniversary of us getting out of this lockdown that the governor has pulled us through. So let's all chip in. Let's get together and saying that the victory is all ours in the end. Thank you.
Cesar Masi, Governor Leon Guerrero, and former Governor Gutierrez. I now like to give the floor to Dr. Felix Cabrera, Public Health Chief Medical Officer, to tell us where we are now with our vaccination status.
Thank you, Crystal. Half a day, everyone. I'll just go ahead and share screen here. Okay, sorry about that. No difficulty there. Okay, so as of June 3rd, yesterday, so we've had then this combines both GovGuam/private efforts for vaccination, as well as Department of Defense, which includes not just active duty, but the federal civilian community who have been vaccinated by DoD contractors and beneficiaries as well. And then also the Guam National Guard. And so in total, having at least 1 dose of vaccine, we're looking at 94,871 persons on Guam being vaccinated, and then being considered fully vaccinated is 83,135 altogether. So this is broken up into three different groups. First is the 12 plus. So this is all all the people who are eligible to be vaccinated on Guam. So that's 12 years and older. And that total amount is 136,352. Of that, nearly 70% have had at least one dose of the vaccine. And being fully vaccinated, you're looking at 61% have been fully vaccinated. If you look at the 18 and over population, or in other words, the adults on Guam, it's just over 120,000 persons. And of that, 74.5% have had at least one dose, and 66.1%, so 2/3 are already considered fully vaccinated. And so that's really great news when you look at that. And then what's even more encouraging is this age group 60 and above. And so as we had discussed in the past, is that those who are 60 and over were in considerable risk of not just being hospitalized by COVID, but also dying. Basically, 1 in 10 of those who are 60 years and older had died from COVID. There was a 2% chance of succumbing to the virus if you were 60 years and older. And so this is the population that we really wanted to get as many of them vaccinated as possible. And so right now, you're looking at 87.1% of them having at least one dose. And this includes those that were vaccinated through DOD. And then total fully vaccinated, 60 years and older, over 80% now, 80.7%. So this is tremendous news. This is why I think we're seeing such lower hospitalizations, and also why we haven't had many deaths recently. And so, but when you look at the total population, which includes all those that are not eligible to be vaccinated, 56.4% of them have had at least one dose, and just under 50% are considered fully vaccinated. On the right here, you'll see in this graph here is the age breakdown. And so it says here 2 months comparison, but it's more than that. It's basically from the 20th March to the 3rd of June. And so this is right before everybody became eligible on March 23, that were 18 and above, I should say, sorry, 16 and above. So when you look at this, and this yellow line is basically the 80% mark for each group of that population. And the number you're seeing is how many more of them we need to be vaccinated for that age group to be above 80%. So basically the 75 and older, we still need about 742 just to get over 80% in that age group. The 60 to 75, however, have been very good in that, I'm sorry, actually this is 74, 60 to 74, but they're already above 80%. So they make up the difference in terms of the rest of the those who are 75 and above, and why together they are over 80%, which is again the blue line here. For those in their 50s, we still need just under 1,400 of you to be vaccinated. 40 to 49, more of you, 3,900 that still need to be fully vaccinated. 30 to 39, 7,693 of you still need to be fully vaccinated. And then the biggest group is the 16 to 29, but they also are the largest group here. And there's still 15,134 of them that need to be vaccinated to get to 80%. However, I will point out, you look at the difference between as soon as they became eligible, how much the pure volume, the absolute number of them being vaccinated is a large amount. And so, major congratulations to them for doing that, but we still need more of you. You're only partway there. And so there still needs to be a lot of you guys make up a big part of the community. We really need the 16 to 29-year-olds to come out and be vaccinated. And this is still fairly early, the 12 to 15-year-olds, but already a good amount have come out and been vaccinated. So that's great. There's still, not many of them are eligible for the second dose yet, but overall that makes up about 8,600 of the 12 to 15-year-olds that still need to be vaccinated. So that's a look at where we are right now. And in total, when you look at the entire across the age group of those eligible, we still need 37,461 to be fully vaccinated to get to 80%. If that's the number that we're really focused on in terms of achieving herd immunity, which it is, and especially as the variants become more present here and are more infectious, the more important that 80% will prevail over something like a different number, like 70% that some people use to consider as herd immunity, but it makes this 80% even more important. So thank you. This is basically the single slide to share today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cabrera. And before I open the floor to the questions from members of our media, I just wanted to remind our viewers at home that the website to get onto to enter to win is visitguam.com/vax. That's VAX. And effective right now, you can log on and register and enter to win for the Vax and Win. Now we're going to go to our questions from the members of the media. I want to remind our members of the media that you each have 2 questions each. We'll go through all of you, and then we'll come back again for follow-ups. Heidi Eugenio Gilbert from the Guam Daily Post.
Good afternoon, Governor. How much do all these prices cost, and is it really worth the prices?
It's about 250,000, and yes, it's worth it. If this is going to incentivize and move our people towards more herd immunity, then yes, it is worth the price. It's incentives for our people to come forward. And, we decided that's something that we wanted to do because we want to make sure that we do a 80% herd immunity so we can go back to some normalcy. If you look at the value of being back to normal, means we can bring tourism in, we can grow our tourism back again. We can start revitalizing more our economy. But more importantly, we're protecting our people. And we're protecting our people from getting very, very ill and very sick and possibly death with this virus. So yes, it's absolutely worth it.
Thank you, Governor. Will the government also start visiting families in their homes? Not necessarily big groups of people, but if there's only like 2 or 3 members of the family who want to get vaccinated, but they don't have the means to go to the vaccination site. They don't have a car. Will nurses or doctors visit their homes instead?
Yes, we are already doing that with our homebound program. And also we're bringing the vaccine sites closer to the community and into the community. So we have stood up vaccination sites in the various villages, Jigo, Dedido, I think we've done in Hagatnya. So we have been working also very closely with the mayors. We are also bringing it to employers. We are bringing it to the tourist workers industry. We're bringing it to various schools. We're bringing it to the public schools. And so, yes, we are moving out and spreading out and expanding our sites. So we are aligning all our programs to stimulate more people and get more people vaccinated in the sense of we are out there in the community for these sites and also incentivizing them to come and get vaccinated. So yes, we are out there. We are bringing it to the community.
Thank you, Governor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Heidi. And when Pacific Daily News.
Today, asking Mr. Gutierrez, you had mentioned the fireworks and drone show. Is it 3 shows each, so 3 drone shows and 3 fireworks, or is it just in Tumon that there will be a drone show?
Okay, thank you for that question. The first night on the 21st will be simultaneous 3 locations of fireworks. Mm-hmm. But on that first night prior to the one that's going to be done at Tumon will be a drone display for that night prior to blowing up the fireworks, because you don't want the smoke to inhibit your view. And then the next night will be just 1 drone in the north, and we're looking at a good location for the 3rd drone, the 3rd night down in Mauricio, and we're looking at that thing this weekend, whether we have enough room to be able to set down the drones as before they take off.
So in total, it will be 3 each then? 3 drones?
but the only one that's simultaneous for one night is the fireworks.
Yes, yeah. And then for Governor Leon Guerrero, I know that in Saipan they are trying to give incentives for people who are incoming travelers. Does Guam have plans for that? Because you had mentioned right now it's for local residents.
Well, our incoming travelers, the incentive, of course, is that when they are vaccinated and they show their card and a second verification, they can go straight home. That's a great incentive, I think, for coming back.
Yeah, in Saipan, for example, like tourists, if we're talking about tourists in general, like they're giving them travel bucks, they're having their like visitors bureau trying to incentivize people who are not from Guam to travel to Guam. Is that not something in consideration right now?
What we are trying to do is establish a tourism vaccination program. Absolutely, we're talking about that.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, Anne. Maureen Maritita, Mariana's Business Journal.
Buenas, everybody. Just a clarification, Governor, when you said a tourist vaccination program, you were not talking about the expat vaccination program, were you?
That, and also we're looking at how, if we have the supply that we can, how we can also offer it to our market source.
Okay, so
but to be sure, sorry.
Go ahead.
But to be sure, that vaccination program that the governor's talking about is nothing different than the protocol that has to be put in place. So there's nobody that's going to go, just come in without the same protocol that we give our people. What we're thinking about is that, and she has agreed to this, except now we have to get signed off by public health, is that you schedule your book a trip. If you are in the Philippines or Thailand, wherever, you book a trip, take a PCR test, no more than 72 hours. You come here, arrive on Guam, and you go to a self-paid hotel that's been approved for protocol by public health. And on day 2, you can get your shot. And if you get a Johnson & Johnson shot, you can leave the next day, fly out. But if you decide to take Moderna or Pfizer, you wait, you get your shot on day 2, and on day 6, you test out. If negative, you can either enjoy the island on day 7, or you can fly out.
I also want to add, Maureen, that this is based on supply. So, of course, our priority for our vaccine supply is our community. That's why we're really doing a very aggressive campaign to get our 80% herd immunity by July 21st. And so I am working closely with the people in the White House to see if there is a possibility to increase our supply chain and to make sure that we can first and foremost vaccinate our community.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure where I am with the questions, but I would like to stay on that point and ask 2 questions. So we've been talking about getting approval for the expat program. Now we're talking about a tourism program. So I'm just wondering, we always seem to hear that we're waiting for approval from public health. So is that because we're only talking about tourists coming in July, or is it that the process takes a long time, or is it, I'm just trying to understand.
So the expat program has been presented to me. I have approved it. Public Health has approved it. We're just working out the details with the hotel and also packaging. because GVB is trying to get the exact costs that may have to be expensed, as it will be the responsibility of the individual that's coming in to pay for their hotel. So the program has been approved, the process procedure has been approved. So we're just waiting for GVB to get and to work it out with the hotels. Yeah.
So what we've done on the hotel bit is that because some hotels are delayed in submitting their own proposals, that individual hotels may work out with public health to instill the same protocol that was put in place by the governor when the USS Roosevelt came in here, and that's the protocol that we have to have public health agree that the security that would be set up. When Roosevelt was here, they had their military security and maybe National Guard. But with us, it's going to be private security, and they want to see that it is a well put together plan. That's what we're looking at right now.
So is that proving attractive to the hotels, Governor Gutierrez?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Is that proving attractive to the hotels?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they're jumping over the hoops right now to hurry up. I just got off the phone with some of them that when we asked that they go ahead and individually speak with with public, with their own conglomerate, like some chain has 6 hotels, and they're putting together their own package and they're going to submit it to GVB.
Okay, I think that probably is 2 questions. I'll wait for the next round. Thank you both very much.
I think it's 4, Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen. Moving on, Nestor Lacanto, KUAM.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Good afternoon, governors. Is there a specific demographic that represents the lowest vaccination rate? And if so, is there some sort of targeted campaign to reach that group?
I think Felix, is he still on board here? Probably can address that.
Hi. So in terms of the population, so the different demographics, of course, are as I had just presented, showing that the younger age groups, for example, and so when you look at the specific age, for example, in terms of the 16 to 29-year-olds, it's only 40% have been fully vaccinated. And so that's the lowest group by far. Of course, the 12 to 15, they just started, so that don't really count overall. But so when you look at that age group, that's one major demographic. And then when you get to the other ethnic groups, you're still looking at the ones that are basically low in their own representation, relatively speaking, as to their representation on the island. You're looking at, so I'm looking up the numbers as I talk at the same time here. The one that's, our Chuukese population is still quite low, for example. And then, and right now, the ethnic groups, they make up the lowest. And then the next group would be Marshallese, and then Kosraean, and then Pohnpeian are some of the other ones. And so there have been targeted approaches and working with the leaders of these communities as well. And so there's been specific outreaches, and that's been ongoing for quite a while. And that, in fact, it's paid off because the numbers have been increasing, a really good amount, and especially when you think about the first several months of when we started vaccinating. So we're making gains on being able to vaccinate these particular groups, but there's still a lot that needs to occur between now and Liberation Day.
Yeah, and is there any particular reason that you folks have come across for that reluctance, be it anecdotally or otherwise?
I don't look at it too much as reluctance as it is just giving them the better opportunity to be educated on vaccines, because at least in my experience, it doesn't take much. You just take the time. Sometimes even just, for example, in a clinic visit, take 90 seconds to try and understand, first of all, why they're hesitant. And usually it's just because they may not understand what vaccines are, period. That they're more preventative and not for treatment, for example. And just taking the time to explain that, and then and then as soon as I recommend it for them, it's very quick that they say, okay, I'll get a vaccine. And so it's really taking that time and effort and being open and hearing what their hesitancies may be, because it may not be the same just within one group. It may be unique to the person. So that's really where we're at right now, and this is basically the same challenges that we have with healthcare overall. So COVID and getting vaccinated for COVID has only put a bigger spotlight on it, and so. But I'm very proud of how we've been addressing it at this point, both from the public and private sector. In particular, I have to give a lot of credit to the private sector, who's really come out and really assisted in this process.
Thank you.
Sorry. Can I just add also in relation to the Micronesian population? I just met with the Council General Philippine, and she too is saying that she's seeing an increase in the numbers of people vaccinated in the Micronesian community. She also is really on a direction to repatriate some of the Pohnpeians back. And one of the requirements is that they have to be vaccinated. So I think as the islands start reopening, one of the requirements would be to be vaccinated. So I would think that would be an incentive for the Micronesian community to get on board and be vaccinated.
Thank you. Just for clarification, is it one car and $10,000 a week? How exactly does that work?
It is one car and or 10,000. So you can have two winners. One can win the car and one can win the 10,000 every week for 6 weeks. So there's a total of 6 cars and a total of 60,000.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nestor. Also want to note again that website is visitguam.com/VAX. The terms and conditions are listed there for additional roles on the Vax and Win program. Now I'd like to give Tony Lamarena, K57. Do you have any questions? Tony, I'll come back to you. Destiny Cruz, PNC.
Good day, Governor. I just wanted to ask, aside from the $500 Micronesian mall gift certificate for individuals aged 17 years old, what other prizes can that age bracket, or what other prizes is that age bracket eligible to win?
My understanding with the GVB, and maybe the former Governor Gutierrez can chime in also, is that there's going to be different and lots of varied prices. Rooms, staycations, I don't know if they're going to, restaurants is another one.
And some of them are giving like Mac Pros and GoPros and every kind of pros that they have.
Pro vaccine also.
All right, thank you so much. That's my only question.
Thank you so much, Destiny. Johanna Salinas, Pacific Island Times.
Hafaday. Hello, everyone. Hello, Governor LG. Hello, Governor Gutierrez. Hello, Dr. Felix. This is Johanna Salinas, and my question is for Dr. Felix or Public Health. What are your thoughts on having to have these incentives, like not just within Guam, but within the nation? Like, people are reluctant to get vaccinated, even though there's all this science and there's all this research on the pros of getting vaccinated, and that like people are still reluctant, and then society or governments have to create these incentives for people to get vaccinated.
Well, I think that everything we think about is risk versus benefit. I mean, what are the risks involved of offering up these incentives? I think the risk is practically none when it comes to it. Now, what we also do know, based on a lot of studies on vaccine hesitancy, is that it's not so much hesitancy as it is more just apathy, and that they, not that they're totally against getting vaccinated, but they're not going to go out of their way to go do it. and they're just kind of like, dragging their feet, so to speak, or they say, "Oh, I'll eventually get vaccinated." Well, now's the time to get vaccinated, and now's the incentive, and now's the time, more motivation to do it, not just for yourself and for others, but then to actually gain something of a physical substance that they can have the potential to win to this. And so it's proving extremely effective in other states like Ohio, for example, that started with $1 million lotteries, and then even California now that's upping it to like 1.5 million. Every so often, I forget how frequent. So these incentives are parts, and this is not new. For example, every October, as I understand it, like Guam Radiology Consultants gives is it a gas card or some sort of gift card for every woman that comes in and gets a mammogram because it's breast cancer month. And so these incentives are they're there and they've proven to work. I think it's money well spent as opposed to just spending on other ways to try and just do marketing, and where it actually just puts into something that just gives it directly to the community. So I think that's my personal opinion. And so, but it's been proving successful. So I think I'm very, very happy that our governor has moved forward with this plan, and we're going to see it, and we're going to have plenty of very happy people coming up in the next weeks. So thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Johanna, do you have any second question?
No, just that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna. Tony Lamarena, K57.
KBS published that Jeju Air, Asiana Airlines, will be resuming flights from Incheon to Guam next month, and Korean Air beginning flights in November. So what are the plans that GVB, what plans are they gearing up to anticipate this arrival?
Well, first, let me say that what spurred that quick action of the airlines was when Governor Lou Leon Guerrero accepted the AstraZeneca to come in to Guam and be recognized. And having done that, now they are really moving quickly because the vaccination in Korea is moving very fast. There are over 10 million now vaccinated, and 60% of that is coming from AstraZeneca serum and not Pfizer. But they want to come to Guam when vaccinated, and that's what they'll bring here, only vaccinated tourists. And they would come back into Korea without having to go to quarantine. So that's what spurred it, was when Governor Lou Leon Guerrero accepted the AstraZeneca.
Okay. Now, are we going to require them to be on SARA alert as well as getting a COVID test 72 hours prior to their arrival?
No, we're going to allow them the SARA alert and the COVID alert, but getting a test every 2 hours?
No, 72 hours before their arrival. Will they need to get a COVID test?
When they get here it depends on what the protocol is at that particular time, but as of right now, they would require that they test out after day 6, on day 6.
Well, that's if they've joined the vaccine program.
What's that?
If they are vaccinated, they will be treated the same way as we treat the returning island residents.
Okay.
In vaccination, you have to really always fall back to the fact of how do we protect our community, and of course, vaccination is one. And so if they are vaccinated and they come in, they will be treated the same way, the same protocol as our returning island residents who are vaccinated.
Okay, so they would also register for the SARA alert as well.
Yes, they would. They have to.
Thank you, Tony. We'll come back to you. Heidi Eugenio Gilbert, Guam Daily Post.
Hi, good afternoon again. This is for former Governor Gutierrez. So, Governor, do you have a firm date as to when American expats can expect to pay for their own hotels when they get here? You said that you're just waiting for hotels to submit their proposals, but until when are we going to wait for them?
To be clear, expats are coming in now on their own. and that's not part of the Airbnb packages. So they get to be quarantined at the quarantine hotel right now, and we want to end that. So we expecting that when we get everything in order, there are planned flights, charter flights to bring people in. That's when they'll start coming, and most of them are, regular flights are not readily available, but they are really going to go into the charter, bringing people in. So as long as we're not there yet with the final protocol, and I hope that over the weekend the hotels will come in with their rates and they'll be able to say, okay, Monday let's talk to public health and let them agree to our protocol with security, etc. Then we launch it, because they're just right now. I kid around, but they say that they're all lining up on the taxiway and there's other countries, and they have their plane on idle, just waiting for the opening here.
Thank you, Governor. The next question is for Dr. Cabrera.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Doc. When will the Department of Public Health issue the amended guidelines that will include AstraZeneca?
So I've reviewed the draft. I think there's just one. They just wanted to ensure that there's some supporting documents that go along with it. But basically, we want to ensure that it was clear and it was fair, that we're basically stating that it's we're starting as a WHO emergency use listing of vaccines as a baseline, okay. But it has to be also FDA approved, or vaccine has to have submitted a application for authorization, which is a huge step, and usually they're pretty confident at that point if they're submitting. So AstraZeneca does meet that criteria, and so we want to ensure that that's clear and it's fair. There are other vaccines that are on the WHO emergency use listing that are not applying for US FDA, and so they won't be included in terms of being recognized at this time. But that is subject to change as more data evolves.
Doc, will that only apply to travelers from Korea, or will it also include or cover those fully vaccinated with AstraZeneca coming from other countries?
Yeah, we we don't distinguish between where you've gotten the vaccine, just the vaccines themselves. So that list again would be, so like, for example, in Korea, they are giving out the Pfizer, as well as Japan, they're giving out Pfizer, and we recognize that already. And so AstraZeneca, doesn't matter if they got it in Europe or Korea, it's still the same vaccine, and that will be recognized as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. And Wen, do you have any follow-up questions?
No, I don't. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne. Maureen, do you have any follow-up questions?
Yes. So I just wanted to clarify about the fireworks and the light display. Is there going to be potential for people to gather in large crowds, do you think? I mean, if you're talking about to Mumbai, or can that be avoided and they'll still be able to see the fireworks and the light display?
Well, first of all, the fireworks are going to be way up in the sky, and they'll be all spread around. They might stay at home and watch it from home, as I do from Agana Heights. So there won't be any gathering of crowds close to the fireworks. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
You'll have something in the north then, or?
Yes, I think once we get the approval from the Guam Football Association to use their field for the launching area, and then we kind of move on that. But that would be the same night as, there's only one night of fireworks. And we're trying to find the right place in the south that would be visible to Inarajan, Mariso, Umatic, and Agate. And so we're looking to see if there's enough space and the Umatic overlook. And to this weekend, they'll be looking at that and see what happens there.
Okay, and just one other question for Governor Gutierrez. I know you've been really busy with tourism issues, but I wondered, since we're in June, if you have any sort of news about the permitting process as the permitting czar.
Well, what we've been doing, and the governor has asked me to go out and find out what the problem is with the slowdown. And it's come to the fact that there are many laws that were passed from the initial permitting and licensing process that anybody that read it, different people read it differently. It became incongruent. And so we will hopefully present to the governor what the problem is. But in the meantime, we have looked at the most critical permits that have been locked up right now over the last year and a half, 2 years, and 3 years. And with the help of the governor and the lieutenant governor, they are moving that forward very quickly. And it's the most critical ones are now moving forward. And I think that we're going to come up with something that the governor will read out to her agencies, that this is the law and this is how you should read the law. So no department is going to read it differently than the other.
I just also want to add, Maureen, that, one of the things that our task force was also looking at is how can we streamline the processes, right? So one of the recommendations was to digitalize the permitting, licensing, and review. And so we are right at that point where we will be implementing the digitalization, where if you are applying, you would apply online, and every agency who is required by law to review these plans and to review the application will be able to see it at the same time. And so that would really streamline the time between one agency to another agency's review. So that is going to be, I have been urgently moving our IT to get to implement that, and it's been progressing very well.
Okay, thank you both. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Maureen. Nestor, do you have any follow-ups?
Yes, I do. Thanks, Chris. This is for President Guterres. Can you elaborate on the charter flights that you mentioned? Is that something that GVB is going to be coordinating?
GVB is going to be part of. What we're doing is we're facilitating the airline owners that want to, for example, there's one airline that we'll be talking with on Tuesday morning that looking at bringing in Thailand expats to fly nonstop, which would be about 6 hours over here. And so we are actively trying to ensure them that our protocol will be in place and everything will be easy for these people to come in, and we'll give them the protocol. Maybe hopefully Tuesday we have something more definitive. But yes, we are talking to people that there are people also that want to fly in their own planes and fill them up with their families and friends. And there's maybe 5 of them that already have reached out to us, but we're still waiting, to get other kinds of protocols to allow that.
Thank you. And Governor Leon Guerrero, this is a bit off topic, but do you have any comments on the legislature's spending plan? And do you have an update on the status of your spending plan?
Yeah, well, one comment about their spending plan is it's at $664 million, which when I met with them, both Republican and the Democrat caucus, I made it very clear to them that really it's only not only, but it's, $603 million. But they went ahead and draft the resolution for $664 million. So that's one comment. It's not aligned with what the federal funds that we are having. My other comment is a lot of their priorities are certainly already our administration's priorities. And everywhere from Department of Labor to Department of Agriculture to the waterworks, to all of that, the hospital, public health, those are all our priorities, the public safety and so forth. So there wasn't really anything unique about their spending plan. or anything new with their spending plan that we have not already addressed. And it's aligned with ours.
Thank you. And if I can just ask, do you have any plans to change your mind as far as paying out the All Rise Act, or are you going to wait till mid-July to get the final guidance?
Yeah, you know, we are really trying to get the rules as we can, as fast as we can. And so once we get those, you know, Nesta, I just want to make sure that we have all the information accurate and that the process and the program is being established accurately. And so right now, Gita is already preparing the process. So once we get the final rules, we'll immediately implement it.
Thank you. Master. Tony Lamarena, any follow-up questions?
Yeah, I have a question for Dr. Cabrera. The Philippines is primarily using Chinese vaccines. And I know 2 Chinese vaccines did get the approval from the World Health Organization. Are we also considering the possibility of accepting these Chinese vaccines?
Yes, so hi, Tony. What you're speaking to specifically is the Sinovac, which they had been using for some time now, and which is the one that most recently got put on the EU emergency use listing by WHO. And then also Sinopharm, which they've gotten a donation, but I don't believe they're actually using as much right now. And so those 2 vaccines are still being under review. And so we are considering them, but at this time, we're not ready to make that move. We're very familiar with the data behind AstraZeneca. So we're comfortable with that, at least for now. But we'll continue to consider these vaccines in particular. But at this time, we know that the efficacy, for example, on the Sinovac is actually very low. And so that actually concerns us overall. But if there's more real world data that's coming through, and if it proves otherwise, that it's actually more effective than what the initial trial showed, then it may be one that we would consider.
All right. Well, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Destiny Cruz, PNC, any follow-ups?
Happy no follow-up questions.
Thank you, Destiny. Johanna, any follow-up questions? I'll take lack of response as no follow-up questions. Thank you, Johanna. Governor, for your closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those questions. And also thank you to GVB for being a really great partner in helping, again, our community to get us to the level of the 80% herd immunity. I really still strongly believe that once we get there, we will return to more of a normal lifestyle. And so I encourage everyone to listen in to these incentives, to make your application on the website. Again, visit guam.com.
Visit guam.com/VAX.
Yes. And also to please come and get your vaccination, roll up your sleeves, and let's work together to protect our island and contain this virus. Sijus Masi.
Sijus Masi, Governor, and to former Governor Carl Gutierrez, thank you so much for joining us. I also wanted to note before we end today that at this hour, there are 500 entries, over 500 entries already on our site. Enter to win the car and the cash. Again, we will begin our first raffle on June 16th. So you have a week and a half to get online. Again, that's visitguam.com/vax. And at this time, already over 500 entries. Thank you so much, and please be safe.